Good evening, friends. This is your host Ijaz Hussain. Today, again, we have with us Andrea. Hi, Andrea. How are
Hi,
you?
Jazz. Very fine, thank you.
On this podcast today, we will discuss about the questions that I have received over the period of time since you didn't come,
Yes,
and there are like situational questions in which the people are, and they want the solutions.
of course.
One of the basic situation in which people are that how they can start a business here in Romania from zero.
Yes, I know that a lot of people started asking questions since our last discussion regarding company incorporation and how to do a business. Since then, we have developed several ideas for them, and it's up to them to decide whether these are convenient or not. First of all, they have to decide if they need to open a new company or to buy a company that is already with some history, let's say. So it depends on what they need to do next. Let's say they want to open a new company, then they have to take into consideration an important aspect, meaning they need to have a valid residence in Romania while they are doing this, and also up to 1 or 2 years, because we will not be able to move their residence to the company that they incorporate, because the law does no longer allow this. I was telling you that you need to have at least 1 year or 2 years on the company, and only afterwards you are able to have a work permit and a residence permit, no matter if you are an employee or an administrator or director, because you need to show profit, you need to show contracts, and also that you have a
The bank
Romanian
statement.
employee bank statement. So what the officers want to see is that you actually open the company with the purpose of doing business. If this is your purpose and you have also a residence based on either a work permit, meaning you work in a different place, or you are a family member, or you are a student, or you do volunteering, it doesn't matter. You need to have a valid residence until your company is functioning. Yes, and only after the company is functioning and we can show the profit and that it is a valid company, then is when we can move the work permit or residence permit and convert them to whatever position they want on the new company.
And this condition of 1 year and 2 years, being to get the administrator visa is, I
Yes.
guess, 2 years, in some conditions 1 year.
Yes.
Is it valid for all nationalities, or it's
No.
certain? Or it
From
have
our
exemption?
so I would say that there are exceptions to any rule, especially when it comes to immigration. And the exceptions come if your company, after 6 months or 1 year, is doing great. You have a tremendous profit. You have more than, let's say, 5 or 10 employees, where you pay contributions, you have an accountant, you have an office, so your company is doing great. My belief is that you can go in an audience to the immigration officers and ask for an exception. And if they don't offer these exceptions, of course, you can go to court and ask the court to allow you this exception. But the idea is that the more profit you have on the company, the more Romanian employees you have on the company, or European employees, the better it is seen by the officers, and they would allow you to do an exception. The idea with the exceptions is not to make the process harder for you. It's just as a safety measure to make sure that you don't have any other interest.
I do not understand one thing. This law, why Romanian or EU worker has to be in the company to have a value of the company. For example, if I am running a company with 20 foreigners, I guess they're worth equal as Romanian. But why immigration has this
Yes, I understand.
condition that why you don't have any Romanian?
Yes, I understand. I can answer.
If I can run my company with foreigners, why do I need for Romanian? Because Romanians probably are stealing money from me.
I don't know what to say, but the idea is as follows. I can understand your frustration, and in most cases, we also share this. However, not only us, but also the officers have seen a lot of cases where people opened companies just to have a document, a residence permit, allowing them to travel freely in other European countries. Then the companies that they started remained with debts, and they didn't use the company to create, to add value to the community, no matter if they are Romanians, European citizens, or non-European citizens. They just use it for this purpose. So when the immigration officers changed the practice, they said that, okay, let's limit the number of people that can do this to those that actually can afford to pay social contributions, to pay a salary, to pay for the benefits of an employee. And not only in Romania, but also in other European countries, they added this condition, because what's the purpose of incorporating a company and developing it? It's also to help the Romanian people to get jobs, to have salaries and so on. And think also about the condition when companies need to hire foreign workforce, what they have to do first time. They have to put an announce at the AJOFM, as everybody knows, and in a public newspaper and so on, that first they have to hire Romanian employees, and if the Romanian employees don't attend or they are not qualified, only then they can hire foreigners. It's the same thing with the company incorporation.
Yes, I'm really frustrated on this.
I
know-
We
I know-
also, because we lose business.
Yes, for example, we are running a company from 5 years,
Yes.
okay, 6 years.
Wow.
On the base of those 6 years,
Yes.
we find out that, okay, our profit margin, our loyal workers are from Asia.
Okay.
We prefer Asian workers.
Of course.
We cannot work with Romanian.
Culturally speaking, I can understand you. There are differences.
When I go to immigration, they said that, hey, you don't have Romanian there.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. I'm running the company. We
You
have
can
the
show
business.
profit and everything.
We can show the business, and still they have this in their mind that I'm running a company fake
Yes.
for the workers only. When they know that I can provide them the balanza
Yes.
for the company from 3 years, 4 years if they want.
So you have history.
I have the history.
Yes, I
In
understand.
that case, still they blame, sometimes they reject work permits on saying that you have only foreigners because your credibility is not there.
You have a ratio actually that depending on the nationality of foreigners that you want to hire. For instance, for one Romanian worker that's your employee, you can hire between 1 to 3 foreigners. This is the ratio that we've come to the conclusion in practice. But and it depends on the nationality of the people that you want to hire. If you are talking about Bangladeshis, for instance, unfortunately, because of all the problems that have happened in the past years, even if you have 10 Romanians, I don't think now the officers will give you even one work permit if they don't actually have the credibility that that worker is actually interested into staying in your company. If we are talking about other nationalities that present more credibility, for instance, from my point of view, Pakistanis and Nepal people, they present more credibility in front of the officers. And also with us, because we didn't have problems so far. Also Indians. We never had problems with them leaving the companies, running, as people say. We had some issues with people from Sri Lanka, but I don't blame them. I blame most cases the agencies that don't give them proper information regarding salary, where they work, and what are the conditions. And this is a topic that we need to address, because there's a scam behind this. When they are in their hometown, they receive from different agencies an offer. On that offer, in most cases, there are put salaries that are not true. Like you are a janitor, like cleaning floors, and they say 6,000 euro or 6,000 RON, meaning 1,200 euro. It's crazy, because in Romania, in no such case will you earn so much money. And then when they are given the documents to sign, like the labor contract, which you sign only when you come here, it's a totally different amount. It's 500 euro. But
Yes.
what can that person do? Because he's already here, he already spent some money into coming here and so on, and he relied on the 1,200 euro, which is in most cases almost 3 times the salary that he's actually given. So in these conditions, if there is, for instance, no organization helping these people to eliminate these kind of abuses, their only chance, their only possibility to pay their debt is to leave that company or to leave even the country to go somewhere else. I don't encourage them. I actually think there are other solutions, but morally speaking, you can understand why they are doing this.
Yes, but leaving the country is never a solution.
Never,
What?
never. Because what happens, they leave Romania, for instance, they go to Italy.
Yes,
There they are exploited.
exactly.
And if they leave Romania without valid papers, when they go to Italy, they will not be able to convert them into legal papers.
Exactly.
So they will remain without papers. Those where they go to work, they will take advantage. They will force them into labor without payment. They don't
half.
have passports or residence permits to return to their country or to return even to Romania, and they are being exploited until someone from the police or from the immigration office goes to, for instance, that farm or to that company and
To
sees
further
them.
control, yes.
And we try to explain this, but the ones that are scamming people are also their own nationals. Co-nationals, let's say so. So they will never trust a Romanian. If I go to them and tell them this, they will never trust me
Exactly.
in comparison to someone from their own village or from their hometown that they trust, unfortunately. But returning to this issue, with them being scammed, what happens, they say, leave this country, leave this company and go to another company, even in Romania. They give money to a random person, and once they go to the other company, they realize they can't do the papers, because if they didn't wait with the first company to obtain the residence permit, the release paper after 1 year, they will never be able to obtain a new job, exchange employer. So they need to know this, pay attention to your podcasts, and follow the instructions so that they remain valid here. And it's okay for them to ask for a better job, for better salary. In the end, this is our purpose when we work, but they have to do it the right way.
Yes. Well, for example, recently somebody contacted me that his brother came to Romania. The company that he came for
Okay.
does not want to make the papers, or they say that okay, if you need the release letter and NOC, we can give you, but they never applied for the residence card yet.
This is not possible because it used to be allowed, but then what happened? A lot of people came for a certain company,
Yes.
especially cleaning company, construction company. These were the main tools for bringing workforce without true reasons.
Yes.
They came on these companies, then they gave the release letter based on certain amounts of money, and they were able to move to other companies. This was correct at that time. This was the procedure and it was legal. However, now this is not allowed because immigration officers, and also with the pressure of Schengen and so on, realized what was happening and they had to put a stop to this phenomenon.
Yes. And you know what kind of people were doing this? The people who are greedy behind money.
Yes, unfortunately there are.
And agencies. And they were reputed agencies. They were not like just a normal person. They had registered agencies. They had talked to the owner that okay, give me the work permits, I'll give you this much money.
Well,
We
if
will
this
find
happens,
we will find work for them. So when they will come, they will force them to leave the country. Because I know this example physically, have seen some people
Yes.
pushing
yes, I
the
understand.
candidates to leave.
With how they were treating them
Exactly.
and how harsh the conditions were. I
So-
know, but these are not. I say they are not professionals.
They are not professionals,
Also
but
the
government,
companies
yes,
don't
government has to take actions on that kind of person who is doing this to
Yes.
just to cancel the residence card, legal status in Romania, and let that guy go.
You are saying that the ones that are
The
doing
ones who are
this,
bringing, yes,
were foreigners.
exactly.
And they were staying here in Romania because
Yes, they had residence cards.
Okay, because most cases I know why the agencies didn't want to come here and open their own branch or their own office, because this way the Romanian government or the authorities
Had a control over them.
yes, have control. They didn't want this. The legislation didn't put a condition, because from my point of view as a professional, and I'm telling you this from the perspective that I am working with recruitment agencies, but they are genuine recruitment agencies. They don't steal money from candidates. They don't put artificial pressure on them. And to be honest, from the agencies that I'm thinking of, I don't remember having even one candidate leaving the companies. And if they left the companies, is after they finish their 1 year period of time, which is totally correct. So the thing is that there are genuine agencies. They are doing a lot of good work, but they are not appreciated because in most cases people want to be light. Like, you want to earn a lot of money, and if another agency, not only do they, so they say, I'll charge you more, but the salary is bigger. But you have to check the market, make your own research, because the reality is that in Romania, at least right now, those that we work in this area, we know exactly what are the salaries for a construction worker, what are the salary for a cleaning worker, and so on. So it's very simple to double check this. Never will you earn 1,000 euro from the beginning as a cleaning worker, or I don't know, I will give you multiple examples, but the idea is that you have to check.
Let's get back to the topic. This immigration crisis will always be there.
Exactly. With the company.
With the company, yeah. What is the minimum amount of money one can invest to start a business? Let's say, let's put an example of one restaurant or a shawarma shop.
Yes, this is very oftenly met with Pakistanis. They like this kind of business. They are good at what they are doing, and for sure their work is appreciated, because as you can see, at least here in Bucharest, there are a lot of such places run by Pakistanis or even Indians and so on, with their own food, national food, and they are appreciated. But the idea is that it involves some costs. I can't tell you exactly what are the costs, but I can imagine that for sure you have to think where you want to take the rent for your place. Is it in a mall, or is it on a street? If it's on the street, you have to think how often do people pass by, and what is the possibility for them to actually stop their car, for instance, and buy the product from you. I would definitely recommend, if you are at the beginning of this business, to choose a location near a school, near a hospital, near places where you can know for sure there are a lot of people, or inside a mall, because although rents are a little higher in the mall, they offer you the traffic of people that's required to allow you to have your business survive. Yes, because this is the main. It doesn't matter how good your food is if there is no one passing by to taste it or to smell it. You know, people are, or you can go in a market. I don't know where you find most people, or near offices, corporate offices, and so on. So first, this is the rent. The rent might vary from my point of view, from, let's say, 2,000 euro to 10,000 euro, or even more, depending on the location.
On the space also.
I would also recommend people that want to do this kind of a business to think about the idea of owning a food truck. A food truck costs around, in average, around 10,000 euro. More or less another 3,000, 5,000 euro you have to add to the devices, allowing you to do actually to cook the food that you want to sell. But in the end, it's one time where you pay, or you can rent, and it's cheaper. And also it allows you to move, choose a location which is actually on the street, and you need to go to the town hall and check with the officers where are the locations that are currently available. And if you put your food truck there, I can guarantee that for sure people will stop.
How hard it is to get authorizations?
The licenses. Yes, I can answer this because I made so many researches on this. I would say it depends on the district. If we are talking about Bucharest, because if we are talking about smaller cities, it's probably easier. But here in Bucharest, there is a lot of competition. As you can see, there are a lot of food trucks, and it depends on the district where you want to take the license from. From my point of view, the nicer and where I would recommend people go and submit their file would be district number 2nd, because there is where I met the most nicest people ever, and for sure they would be very pro to help you. But this is a subjective opinion. Of course, it's based on my interaction with different public officers, and things might change because I'm talking about more than 1 year since I have been doing this. But the idea is that you have to check with the town hall and see where are the public spaces where you would be allowed to put your food truck, and based on that, also the rent that you are paying is different. Some are cheaper, some are more expensive, but in comparison to a place in a mall, it's way cheaper, and it's one time. You pay the rent, okay, it's monthly, but if you buy it, it's one time. And then you can resell it if things don't work. Also, a couple of years ago, we were also promoting for foreigners with more, let's say, cash flow. They have the possibility of also taking a franchise, franchise. Yes. So we have different partners. For instance, you can take franchise from pizza. Different. I will not name them, but if you want to do this, of course, they come with a different price, but they will guarantee you more stability financially speaking, because they already give you the know-how, they give you the equipments, they give you the banners, and people already know those trademarks and brands. So if people have more money, I would definitely tell them to take such a franchise.
How much is a franchise car?
It can get from 10,000 euro to 30,000 euro. It depends. Of course, when people ask us about this, because we also help them with business consultancy and so on, we ask them, okay, what is your budget for this? Because we don't want people put more than they can afford, but they also have to be realistic about what they can do with that money. Because, for instance, if you have 10,000 euro, you will not be able to start Horeca food business, but you can start a different business, like online business with commerce, okay? You can sell different products, and with 10,000 euro, you can actually sell a lot. And I will give you an example from another podcast that I was listening to, and I found it very interesting. There was a millionaire who was taken an interview, and the person, another Ijaz, was asking, okay, so if you would have only 1,000 euro, and you wouldn't have any other business and so on, what kind of business would you do with 1,000 euro? And he gave a very interesting example, which I always give to my friends that are, let's say, sometimes they don't know what to start, or they are always saying, okay, but I don't have the money to start a business. And I always say, you don't need money to start a business. You just need an idea and follow the idea. And this guy, what he gave as an example was the following. If I had 1,000 euro, I would invest in selling an emotion.
Yes.
Listen, it's very good. He gave the best advice, because what are people buying right now? They are no longer buying products. If you buy a car, you buy it for the experience of driving that car. If you buy an apartment, you buy it for the experience of living in, for instance, a green neighborhood, or for living in a more quiet neighborhood and so on. So he said you need to sell an emotion. And he gave the example, spend 500 euro on T-shirts, putting, for instance, the car of your dreams, and adding something, a positive affirmation. So when you sell that T-shirt, basically you are not only selling a T-shirt with a car that car is wanted by a certain category of people, but also adding something funny or something positive adds
a value to it.
Yes. So this is with the first 500 euro, and with the rest of the 500 euro, you need to put it in marketing, either Facebook ads or flyers and so on. The money that you get from selling t-shirts, of course, it has to be some quality in the t-shirt.
Of course.
You will reinvest and so on. So this is a very good example, and everybody can do this, because I think even foreigners, they can afford to invest 1,000 euro.
Easily.
What I would also give them as an advice, because not everybody is born with these skills, entrepreneurial skills. You have to know your limits. If you are not good from early age to do business, you will not become a good business person at 30 years old. So you have to be realistic. But this doesn't mean that you can't invest the money that you have through the help of different professionals.
Yes.
So you need to, first of all, think, am I a good business person or not? Did I ever sell something until 20 or 30 years? If you didn't sell anything, you will not be successful, my opinion. And it's a subjective opinion. But you need to take a professional to help you with this, with a business plan, with some ideas. Of course, this might cost. And if you don't want to invest, you can follow free podcasts, free. Now information is everywhere.
Yes.
People don't have excuses. Even us. I'm a lawyer, but with the company Door to Romania, my colleagues are offering, let's say, a tailored plan for business. We have clients that come to the company and say, we have 10,000 euro or 100,000 euro. What can we do in Romania with this money? And my colleagues are creating a plan, a business plan for them. Of course, they have to pay for the business plan, and in the end, it is their decision whether to continue or not. But most of them continue.
On this, not hiring a professional to start your business,
Yes.
I have a very practical example over it. A very good friend of mine got retired at the age of
30 years.
at the age of 50 plus.
Okay.
Had a handsome amount of money saved up.
Mm-hmm.
Job got finished. He had no idea what to do in life. He said, okay, let's start a business.
Okay.
He opened a restaurant without consulting with anybody professional. All his life worked as a worker. Out of nowhere started a business. Bought things. Invested a lot of money. Couldn't run even for 6 months.
Of course.
Because he didn't have any professional consultancy.
Yes.
He didn't know what is a business plan.
Yes.
When he was closing, at that time somebody asked him, what was your business plan? And he said, what is that?
Yes. Well, unfortunately, this is true. This is true.
If you pay somebody professional in the start few thousands of euros, that will save you
More money in the end.
at
All your
least-
savings.
at least 10 times more money, because once you invest all the money, bike equipments, place for rent and everything, when people that you will hire and everything, it's a lot costly than hiring one professional to lead you for the business.
Yes, and also, for instance, because I have been working with, since I was a lawyer, we have had in our portfolio more than 80 Romanian companies and endless foreign companies with associates that are either Romanians or foreigners. And what I've seen is the following thing, that if a person wants to put money, this is not enough. It's never enough. What kills a company is the lack of cash flow. And the lack of cash flow doesn't come from how much you actually put in the company from the beginning. Because there are, for instance, you have to think a company in two different ways. There are things that generate income and things that consume income.
Exactly.
For instance, an office, in most cases, it consumes income. The rent, the utilities. You have to think, is the rent that I am paying for this business giving me profit? For instance, if you are a translation company, I'm giving you an example, and you take your clients from the street, right? Everybody passing is a client, a potential client. then of course you need to invest in the headquarter, okay, in the office. It has to be in a good location. It has to be with a lot of people passing by. So in this case, the office is important.
Exactly.
But if you are doing marketing, for instance, the office is not important.
Exactly.
This is only one example. So this is something how your mind as a business person or an entrepreneur has to run. Always thinking, is this expense that I'm doing giving me profit, or is it only consuming?
All in all, it shouldn't be a liability at the end.
Yes. In the end, also you have to be realistic that business doesn't generate from the first month or 2 months or 3 months. You have to be realistic.
At least 6 months have to be.
Ask yourself, how much time can I support myself financially until I start obtaining some profit?
Yes.
Because you have to build your credibility, even with the food that you are selling. Until people taste it, like it, and recommend it to other people, you will not be able to sell at the highest potential. Okay. Also, it's very important to invest in workers. The employees in your company, I believe, and this is also something that I've come to the conclusion ever since I had my first junior lawyer or employee, is that people are the most important asset in your company. If you treat your people in a correct manner, of course, choosing the correct employees, it's also important, but this is where you need to invest the most, in people. The rest that are assets like office or car that the company is using, this doesn't generate profit in the end, while employees, they do. So I would encourage entrepreneurs, at least at the beginning, to choose wisely. Don't think that if they hire someone for a lower salary, it will bring light to their company. You have to treat your employee as you would treat yourself, and this way your employee will help you build the business that you are dreaming.
So all in all, from our conclusion about the starting a business is like this, that other than consultancy or hiring a specialist, what costs is like 20,000 to 30,000 to start a small level business, right?
Yes, but if we are talking about something that implies a lot of expenses like rent or buying products or so on, if you are doing something in online, for instance, it's way cheaper than
a lot cheaper. It's in few thousands of euros, not in. So all in all, people have to keep this thing in mind if they want to start a business, especially in food domains. They have to think that first 6 months they have to put from their pocket. Do not expect any profit, of course.